You're listening to the Real Estate Radio Hour, the show that brings you unfiltered stories and insight from the Twin Cities real estate world with your hosts, Chris Rooney, broker at RE/MAX Preferred, and Andy Presky, leader of the Preferred Home Team at RE/MAX Advantage Plus.
Good morning.
What up, suckers?
Dang it, I was trying to get my last email done. Didn't happen.
Email? I thought you had people for the people.
Oh, I'm going to send it to the people to send that email. But I'm actually sending the people the email to do the email for me.
You know how pyramid schemes are built? That's Rooney's business. Runs and has people doing things for things to make things of the things.
Conspiracy theory, the pyramids, just saying.
Yeah.
Nick ran into one in wherever the hell he is. They said there's no way that they can move what they said they did.
Yeah, it's called Sexy Woman. That's how you pronounce it. It was built by the Incas supposedly, but the stones I saw were, just massive. And they said they used like ramps, like they did in the pyramids in Egypt, and it didn't make any sense. But look at this. This is where I'm at right now. This is the view on the other side of the.
Oh, cool.
Oh my! Is that the mountain way up there? That Inca or whatever, Machu Picchu or whatever it's called?
No, this is a sacred valley. So there's probably hundreds of those mountains, throughout the valley. And then I'm headed towards Machu Picchu. On Sunday, we're going.
Wow, awesome.
I've heard.
So do they talk about the aliens that actually built those pyramids yet, or do they wait till you're into it a week or two?
They told me they're not 100% certain who built them, which was good to hear, because the Inca time frame was just too short to build how big they built these places. So I'll find out more.
Assuming, I'm a realist, but I watch all those shows too, and I'm like, I always you try to hope that human engineering is what's creating that amazing, I don't know, whatever, BC kind of environment where they were out there way back and they could engineer things to make that work. On reality, they're like, dude, these people were like hitting shit with stuff with clubs. And, it's like they weren't engineering anything. So it's like, I don't know.
Andy, you couldn't fit a credit card in the middle of the rocks, like how tightly they were fit.
They were cut. So they were cut rocks too.
Yeah. It was like perfect
take
precision.
Pictures, man. I know you got lots of cute girlfriends. You post those, but post a couple archaeological.
I do. There's a ton. You got to keep looking at the stories. The Susquehanna one wasn't as firm, but like the main temples, it was like unreal stoneworking. You could put a credit card in there.
That is cool. That gives me hope for humanity, right? Like you put your minds behind and effort behind something, you can make anything happen, including a good housing market, right, Chris?
Yes.
Yes. Positive. Hey, consumer confidence. I always say that's the biggest thing.
Yeah. Boy, did I get taller than you or what?
I just see that.
There we go.
Oh, not anymore.
I did adjust my camera. I'm sorry. I wanted to show off my nice fire shirt.
I know. I like that. You look very fall-like. Even though, is it winter yet? Is it supposedly winter?
You know how long I wait to put flannels on? And then I'm like, I just love my flannel. I don't know about you guys, but man, nothing better than a good sweatshirt or a sweater or flannel.
Or a t-shirt.
Mm-hmm. So people that say they don't like the cold, I'm like, geez, I'd sure miss having my good old warm cotton.
Oh my God, did you notice it's December 7th? It's
I did.
Pearl Harbor. Wow. Okay, hey, we were talking, one of the rare occasions we both got on this podcast early. We're having a little conversation and talking about money spending. And you were saying about that they couldn't sell any cars. Say what you were saying.
Well, no, there's a lot of industry talk right now, how interest rates didn't really affect the housing market as much as they wanted, where, people, they're still, because of the lack of supply, right? So every other industry caught up. So, after the COVID crunch and there wasn't all the, supply chain issues, and all of a sudden they could catch up and they built all that inventory. So now they have, the thirst for people that are spending big money on exotic, speedboats and, 400 horsepower pontoons and all these other things that are out there that are completely, for fun. Have no purpose in the real world other than fun, right? Or flexing, as they say, right? And a lot of that stuff is sitting. Cars, same thing. These $90,000 pickup trucks. They're still sitting on some 2023 inventory, and we're going to run out of runway here, and they're going to have old inventory sitting. So you're starting to see big discounts at the dealerships, and you're starting to see things just not moving because it goes to show consumers on consumer goods, 100% consumer confidence. And this is my opinion from my world. I live in the suburbs of Minneapolis perspective, but I'm just seeing people saying, you know what? Housing is not an investment as much as it is something that we need, right? I mean, housing, people look at housing the wrong way. The reason why housing isn't quite as effective by interest rates and things like that is because people need to live somewhere. Family life, situations change. And if they feel real good about what they're doing when they're in that position, then they might spend a little more money, or they might buy a little bit nicer of a property. It's not all like a lot of these people want to look at real estate as just being an investment vehicle. And it is, but it isn't,
Yeah. A lot of people are putting their money in real estate. They want something.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, with inflation, they want something tangible. But you were talking about how many the cars aren't selling and all of that stuff. And I got an email probably about 2 months ago from Tesla. And I was one, when I purchased my Tesla, I was able to get lifelong free charging. So I could go to any charging station and it's free forever, as long as, that car keeps moving. I never use it because I have a charger at my house. But when we were kind of between houses and construction was happening, I was doing that, and it was kind of, it was interesting. So I did a lot more. Well, anyways, they came out with an email and it said that, hey, you've got an opportunity if you want to be able to trade in or move up or just buy a different Tesla, you can transfer that charging to another one. And I just was like, no, I'm not going to do it and whatever. And then I'm kind of like, you know what? Now that you can get 400 miles, you can go 0 to 60 in 1.9 seconds. I mean, it's got all these crazy things to it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do it. But I always have white vehicles. I wanted a black one. And
so when we were out the other night, was that your new vehicle? When we went out to Ryan's deal, did you have your?
No.
Oh, okay. Because there was a brand new black Tesla in that parking lot, and I go, I knew you were going to be there, but I didn't see your car.
Yeah. So no, that's what I want. And so I call in and say, hey, I've got this and blah, blah, blah. And it goes to like California, and they're talking, and they said that I have to take delivery by the end of the year. And they don't have any black Teslas with the one that I want, the Model S, the good
fast, awesome one.
Yeah, the good one. And they don't have one. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I mean, they have to have one. Well, there is fine print. If they don't have exactly what you want, it can extend into next year. So, but they failed to mention that to me. But I just thought that was interesting, when you're talking about that, and all of a sudden, Tesla, who's cranking out cars left and right and supposedly have to reduce their prices to get people to do it, can't have a one little car for me.
So. Well, have you seen that iconic Hummer dealership that was up in Rogers? If you drive,
I've seen it.
Yeah, it's got the big H on the front. You can't miss it.
Yeah.
Well, now right in the middle of the H, it says Tesla. And I was driving by with my family the other day, and I said, gosh, is that a sign of the times if going from the big, massive, four-wheel drive ego truck to a plug-in. And their lots are full of the $40,000 version of that car. The lower cost,
right.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever, four-door ones. Their lot is full. They have a lot of inventory there. They've never had inventory. It was always an empty lot, and then now it's full.
Yeah, those don't excite me whatsoever. But
I think that was designed to get the average Joe into trying an electric
just
car
at a lower price point. Yeah. So, but anyways, should we talk about real estate? I think we are, though, because that's consumer confidence.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I'd sold everything, but now I got two new listings that just popped on. Back to work again. I thought I was going to get off, but it's not
Chris,
happening.
One thing I was going to say to everybody, because I've seen this happening now, and we're not seeing a 4-day market right now, and a lot of there always is the house that lists and sells overnight for multiple offers. They always exist. But I'm talking about the average, property, the average nice affordable home. And, we're going back to a 30 to 45 day market. I mean, honestly, where you're not selling the first day you list and you're getting 1 or 2 showings here and there. And I mean, I'm the first one to say and I truly believe this, I put more money and effort into marketing than my average realtor that I compete with. I spend more to get them better results, and I invest into their properties. And I'm saying, so I know the spending is there, and then the results are coming back where it's just the market's cooling down. So instead of spending our whole wad in the first week of being on the market, now we're stretching that out over 30, 40 days, and we're seeing good results, because then you have that consistent image. Then when, you know, the customer comes along, we have a beautiful house there for them to take a look at. We go out of our way on our showings, and that's not every house that we list, but that is definitely some of them. And that's okay. I keep telling everybody, don't panic sell. We're heading into a market where if it doesn't sell right now, we'll pull it off the market, and you can sell in February, March, April. And I tell you, with rates, what did they say? 4 times are expected to go down, or the key rate, not necessarily mortgage rates, but key next year. If that happens, usually mortgage rates will come with it. Usually, not always. And I don't know. I think you're going to see multiple offers again by midsummer, but
yeah, I think people have to remember too that we are in the winter now. We're between Thanksgiving and Christmas, and sometimes things do slow down. I mean, we've taken a lot of thoughts and whether or not to put these listings on the market or not right now, versus waiting, because we've got 5 of them that we're waiting for after the first of the year at some point, just to kind of see where it's at. But you gotta find the timing is so important in some of this stuff if you're not in a hurry to get out. So that's what we're trying to do. And like these ones are both vacant properties, and the opportunity with them is that there's not a lot of other things on the market that compete against them. So when you go on the lake at under 900,000, you also look at what are people doing right now? They've slowed down. They're not doing the outside work. They kind of have more time. I mean, for God's sakes, it gets dark at 5 p.m. I mean, by 7, you think it's midnight.
yeah.
And so a lot more people are sitting around and maybe on their computer than thinking about, geez, maybe next summer I could be on the lake. So there's a lot of thought that has to go into it. And people don't usually think about listing their house when it's whiteout and a frozen lake.
Well, but Chris, remember, I mean, a lot of our sellers and buyers are a lot younger than us, and they think about the last time we actually had a cyclical, season. I mean, I'm talking before like probably 2008. I mean, where we had well, guys, it's winter. All the realtors bundle up and head south and go to Florida for a month, and then they go somewhere else in January, and they come back for February when we start warming up a little bit, and the market starts picking up. And then they have that spring market. Then middle of summer, they all disappear again. You have a little bit of a fall market. And it's like, it would go like this naturally based on school years, based on, I don't want to look at a house until you think about the spring cleanup. We really should do something. You get ambitious right after the first of the year. You have those to-do lists or whatever. I'm going to lose 20 pounds. I want to buy a new house. I want to remodel. I want to whatever. So you see a lot of people get active after the first of the year.
Hey, Andy, speaking of going up north, you didn't mention that you saw me up north. I visited up north. I crossed, 394, first of all.
Yeah.
I was past even 94. Jeez.
You were really pushing it.
And me and Andy met at an event. Ryan Yardley was having an event. So
I've never seen a room of more characters in my life. Everybody I met there, I'm like, whoa, 100 miles an hour with their hair on fire. Ryan is that guy for us, though. He's always been that way. He's just got stories. And he's telling you where he's going and what he's doing and what his big adventure is next. And then I go, oh, that's Ryan. His buddies will all be mellow.
All right, Andy, how long should I plan to have my house for sale in this market? So I think they're looking for how long, I mean, if I list it right now, how long do you think it'll be on, and maybe by the time I close? What do you think?
Okay, so there's a couple ways to look at that. It's like, are you looking to just look at the absorption rate for that marketplace? So a house that's, 450 in this area takes, 32 days to sell on average. Or are you going to get very specific and look at your exact house, square footage, year built, and you get really dialed in where you say a house of this age in this area sells in 13 and a half, days at an average of this % of list price. And the data's there to dial that in so you can get, now everything's unpredictable. I mean, when it comes to real estate, but there is some consistencies, right?
Yeah.
And so that is
we
what
have numbers.
recommend.
I mean, we do have numbers for that.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
that
what I'm saying.
shows
Yeah, I mean, you could have your real estate agent literally dial in, like I always say this, because if you're up at, let's say you're in Blaine, which, Chris, that's a town north of 94.
Heard of it.
Blaine, just a little south of Canada, a little north of
Big complex.
Yes,
big
yes.
ice rinks.
Lots of soccer, lots of hockey,
Yes.
yeah, super rinks. Now in that community, let's say that you had a property up there that you have a big executive 2-story on the lakes or the TPC, the golf course up there or whatever, and you have an executive level home for $1 million+ dollars. That's going to sell at a different rate than the 1958 built Rambler that's on the east side of 65. So what you want to do is you want to get very specific. You want to dial in your metrics, and then that'll really help you gauge it. So what I'm saying is, you may be selling where your average or the median income or median sale price for that area might be $450, but you're trying to sell at $300. You might sell in 30 seconds versus 30 days. And that's the key, is that you can, the metrics are there to dial in and really anticipate where the market's at, because you're going to get, what's really I find interesting is, as you're shopping real estate agents too, and you're like, okay, somebody comes in, we'll get this sold in a week, blah, blah, blah. And then they let you overprice it because they want the listing. And then the realist comes in and says, hey, you need to be at this price. We're going to sell in 32 days. And it's like, but you don't want to hear that. So it's like, you take the easy, you want the shot instead of the pills, right? That take you a month to get rid of your whatever. And that's that instant gratification sometimes bites you in the instant butt.
Yeah. I've always been the kind that, I mean, I don't ever want to explain later that, hey, here's what the problem is, or man, I didn't really think about this and we got a problem later. And there's other agents that don't have a problem with that. They'll contractually obligate you. And then it's like, hey, if we're going to sell, we got to start getting it down. But it's so important, that initial list price. And it depends, different people. I mean, there's different philosophies and ways to market things and to go. I think I talked about this before, but I had a property at one point, this was quite a few years ago, that, I mean, we priced it way over what the market was. But the whole idea is we were kind of going on the market in this time frame, kind of give it a quick shot because nothing was out there, but listed it high, and then came back in the spring, $50,000 to $75,000 less, which was still maybe a little too high, but people looked at it and said, oh my gosh, here it is, and we ended up getting it. So there's sometimes it's not just like, oh, that idiot just really listed it high. There might be some thought process to it and how you do it. And I think that's real important from an agent standpoint, because there's a lot of agents that I know exactly what they're doing and what they're telling their people. And you can see it when they're listing them. And so you got to kind of keep people off it, especially if you do a little business, because that's not helping your seller. It might be easiest for you, but you got to do what's best for your seller.
I was going to give a quick example, Chris, to kind of complement what you're saying. And there was a home that a good friend of mine, he a developer, so he's around the industry quite a bit. And this was years ago. And he had a house that was built on acreage that was actually a slab on grade executive level 2-story. Super rare, right? Mm-hmm. And so we did our research on that. We came back to him, and the market out there is slower anyway. In this market, it was Otsego. That market was a 40-day market at that time for the average sale. And I was like, listen, this product, everyone that I could find going back 2 years, takes about 150 days to sell on average. So I said, we're going to have a longer list period. We'll get a few showings right away, and then we're going to keep marketing slowly over the course of 150 plus days. And I go, so we were listing in February. By the time we got into the midsummer, I go, this house will sell. I'm talking pole barns and acreage. And I mean, it was amazing, right? But there's so many people that didn't want that house because it didn't have a basement. You just have to wait a little longer. The buyers are there. The buyers you're patient and you have it up for sale. And then finally somebody goes, finally, we found what we're looking for. And guess where they were from, Chris?
California, Texas. Arizona.
Texas. No basements in Texas. And guess what? They were transferring up here, and they're like, finally, a house that's like what we're used to.
Yeah.
We found our cowboy, right? So you just have to be patient, make a plan, and then, be realistic, I think, is the key thing there.
That's interesting. people's thought process now on slab on grade homes has definitely changed. I mean, I remember before it was like, oh God, this is going to be horrible. I can't list this, and I don't know really how to price it, and and now it's more of a lifestyle, and it truly is. I mean, I saw one. It was in Crestview, which is out in Credit River, which is a high end neighborhood, $1.5 to $3 million, and there was a slab on grade, and it was about 4,000 square feet on that main floor. They kind of had it set up into almost like two units in a way that you could have a unit, but it was kind of part of it. And it was like zero entry into the garage. And within the garage, they had their mechanicals, and it was all, concrete around it. So it alleviated any concerns about tornadoes or storms that you could go in there. But you just go through that house, and it was so awesome. And then it walked straight out onto the yard. And I mean, it was perfect. And I'm like, oh my God, this one's going to sold the next day. And I was like, that's one I would love to do. We're building one too, where the house is just like 100 square feet bigger than what the garage is. They wanted this massive garage, super cool, like show garage with cool cars in there and everything like that. But they didn't want a crazy house, and they didn't want a basement. And so, but like you said too, slab on grade with a second story is kind of unusual here. It's not so unusual in Texas and all those areas, but here that's usually not, because people want one level living.
You remember, we're old, Chris, so you remember back to the early 2000s, right? And so when we were building houses, and that was when the Nationals weren't here. We didn't have any big Wall Street builders like we do today. And what the Wall Street builders did was they brought in new products. There was two things they brought in. Lofts, which we've never seen before. And we're like, why would you want a loft? What a waste of space. Make that a bedroom or another office or whatever, right? But now every big house we have has to have a loft. And number two is a slab on grade. They kind of go hand in hand. What they realized real fast is you have to have two gathering areas that are not in the same part of the house. But if you don't go down, you have to go up. And so that's what the Nationals did bring us, is a whole new design in housing. But I'm telling you, I remember back some of these townhouses. So you remember the old Rotlands, and there was a bunch of these older companies that were there back then that were building townhouses. And here's what was really cool. These townhouses, these were Minnesota-based builders, right? So they were trying to get in the townhouse game. They're trying to compete and squeeze out these national builders. And these guys and they did a great job of it, by the way. Back then they were very competitive. And they would put basements on townhouses. Do you remember this, Chris?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, all of a sudden you have these big, beautiful townhouses that now are slab on grade all the time.
Yeah.
They would put basements on them because these builders are like, well, where do you put your utilities? Where do you go in a storm? Where do you go and so for storage. Yep. So those townhouses are so rare. Those, you know what I'm talking about? The quad units with the basements on them. And
absolutely.
Oh God, they're nice.
Yeah, they really are. Hey, so Andy, what do you think? If you tell someone, I mean, in general, how long is your house going to be on the market? I'm telling them now, 60 to sell, 60 to close.
That's fair. I mean, on your level of housing, I think that is definitely, that. I think some of my stuff will sell a little bit quicker than that because of the price points.
Good.
I do wander into your range once in a while, but I think that some of our entry level, but see, entry level is what really got whammied. I mean, a lot of people aren't talking about that, but boy, those young buyers are going $2,800 for a what? And they're like, my apartment's only $2,200 and I don't want to spend that much. So there are a lot of people buckled down and extended their leases. But I think when rates drop, again, like if they drop, I've questioned if they were or not, but if they do, I think you're going to see a hot run on that, under 400 pricing again.
Yeah, I agree.
The family that lived in this house was fighting, and this is my theory. Like, the open concept was a little too open. You start to see a little bit too much of each other. So they built this separate roof deck for Dave and Dylan to talk about their conservative views, while Sandy and Sarah get the west wing of the house. Sandy does have osteoarthritis, so this railing is very important. And the pool looks like a fidget spinner, which was ideal for Dave and Dylan because they can talk Monday Night Raw in their little nook, while Sandy and Sarah talk about Colleen Hoover in their little cove. Coexistence can be peaceful when you don't have to talk to the husband you hate. So we've gotten to the root of the family feud. It feels like a Smithsonian exhibit. Why not just replace the doors with plexiglass? Honestly, I hate that I love it. You can just drop a stink pickle and submerge yourself into the prehistoric reptile reservoir. This has Dave written all over it. This is what started the family fight.
Jeez.
There really should be a fern or a nice palm tree in the corner of that reptile exhibit, as he called it.
I tell you, that's how you kind of get followers, though. I don't know if it's going to do good selling that property, but he's just playing with it.
I think he's one of those. He's one of those. What do you call them? The personalities, and then they do that video for you just as a promotional.
It's hilarious. Stunt. That was good. I like the quick talking too. It's just can't even believe it.
He's the type of dude that makes the funny real estate content, and then a lot of people say, "Hey, I want to sell a house or I want to buy a house," and he shoots the leads out to other people.
Influencer or whatever you call that, yeah.
That's cool.
We should become influencers. That'd be
So this home in Washington for $1.7 million has its own airplane hangar built onto it. The home itself is actually quite beautiful. It's updated with heated floors. There's an elevator inside. It's about 4,000 square feet, 2 bedrooms, 3 baths in Sequim, Washington on about a half acre. The home itself, though, is connected to an airplane hangar right onto a private airport. So you can literally fly in and out of your home in this beautiful area with a view of the strait. I mean, imagine that. If you're a pilot, definitely hop on this place and check it out. You don't want it to fly away.
There's one of those up in Lino Lakes, right? I have sold a house on that. There's right off Sunset Strip, right out by the old sod fields. There's an old, or I shouldn't say old, newer houses, fancy houses, and they all have airplanes in their backyard, and they use their private strip to take off. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's 2 other ones down south too that I know of.
Yep.
They are. It's kind of interesting. It's they definitely use it. It's very interesting with the hangars and stuff, and covenants are a little looser there and how they deal with.
They have to be, yeah.
Houses, yeah. But these other houses are not like monster houses either. Mm-hmm. They're kind of a little more subtle, and it's kind of like you're using a 2-seater plane type thing, not a jet going out of there. So
no, yeah, a lot of times they're single prop.
Yeah, you got to have such. I mean, depends on the length of the runway and what kind of. I mean, like you said, it was up. Where'd you say it was, Indy? Yours?
Lino Lakes.
Okay, is it grass? A grass runway? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So.
Yeah, there's also right close to there too. There's also a gentleman that's on, if he's still alive, on Rice Lake, because he was older, in his 90s, and he was one of the only fly-in water plane pontoons, kind of thing, repair shop in Minnesota. And so you'd fly your floater plane in, he'd do repairs, whatever, and then it was very cool. Yeah, I sold a bunch of houses on that. Like we had a development that probably 6 years ago that had all these lots that are on the lake facing this guy, and I go, what a cool thing to do, sit out there and have a punch on your deck and watch the old float planes, the Jimmy Buffett style planes coming in, because they come from all over.
Yeah.
This guy was pretty good.
I see that at my house a lot. They'll touch and go. It's pretty cool.
Practice.
Oh, your ex-girlfriend wants to see the house. Okay. All right. I'm on my way. Bye. Oh, your dog sitter wants to see the house? Oh, yeah, of course. No problem. Yeah, I'll be right there. Oh, your manager from work wants to see the house. I mean, we just seen it earlier today, and you're getting the keys tomorrow. He really wants to see it. Oh, yeah, of course. Sure, no problem. Yeah, I'll see you there shortly. Okay, bye.
Remember those days. As an agent, you gotta nail that right away, and/or pre-control that. That's the problem usually, is that it usually becomes it's the blind person, it's the carpet people, it's the painter. We need a bid for the furnace. We need all this different things. You got to remember there's a couple things. Number one, be ahead of yourself and tell people during the inspection to be able to get their people in. Number two, the seller can't stand that, and that it doesn't work out well. And you got to remember.
So let's give people a reason why, because as soon as the showing gets booked, I get a call saying, "What the hell is this all about? I thought they already bought the house. Are they going in there to try to cancel? Are they, what are they looking at? Are they get conspiracy theory brain going as to why are they in there again?" And I tell you, unless it's vacant, generally doesn't fly.
Right. And what if you're a seller After you sell, what do you start doing?
Packing.
And living a little better, because, and so there might be stuff laying around. All of a sudden they come in and they bring that furnace guy in, and they go there and they said, well, as long as the furnace guy's there, I'm going to go measure this and take pictures. Then all of a sudden there's boxes that fill this room, and it makes the room look too small, and my king size bed won't work in there. And now it's time to renegotiate. So it's just it's a horrible thing. And it can be just a wicked tornado.
Yeah, so other than your final inspection, I mean, don't be insulted if a seller tells you no.
Yeah.
My sellers all the time will say no. There's no reason for you to get in there other than you want to. Yeah. And if it's inconvenient for the seller, why would the seller do that?
Yeah.
Here's
the other thing too. It's kind of like, hey, we want to measure for window treatments. No problem. I'll measure the windows for you. I'll send them over. And then it's like, well, reality, I really wanted to bring my grandma. Well, you should have had grandma before. And, nowadays with photos, I mean, this happened back in the old days. I can see it. But now with every single photo of every little part of the house, right, it's hard not to see it.
Well, and think about this, Chris, right? I mean, that's what you are. But the only reason why you'd bring somebody through, there's no advantage to it because the deal's already done. The only thing that can do is unravel the deal. Right. So why would a seller ever let anybody through that property unless you up front said, hey, upon removal of this, inspection contingency, we would like one more visit to the house for blinds and for this contractor to give us an estimate. And then people are still like prepared, right? And other than that, I tell you, I generally will not, I talk my sellers out of it, because when you let somebody through that property, and there's arguments to be had, I get it. Argue with me all you want, but the only thing you're going to do is unrattle that deal. That's the best. It never keeps it together even more, because now grandma goes over and goes, well, she'll think of something they never thought of and bring something up, and they'll want to react to whatever she brought up. And then they'll want a response from their agent, and their agent calls you with all contingencies cleared. And all of a sudden they want to know this about that. And you're like, you almost don't want to answer, because what if you answer incorrectly and now they get cold feet and they let you keep the earnest money and they pull it off, don't show up at closing.
You got to remember, in our industry too, I mean, over half the people sell maybe 1 to 2 houses. And during the year, probably half of our sales are from those types of agents that are not setting that expectation on their client. They're just got the deal and they just, I'll do whatever they need, and let's go look, and I'll get it done. And then they're like, well, why can't we see it? And then they don't temper the other people's expectation. So all of a sudden now you go back and Andy calls and says, you know what? No, we're not going to show it. They've got too much stuff going on, blah, blah, blah. And then she goes back to the buyer. And now the buyer starts thinking, you know what? I bet you any money they got water issues. And there's water in the basement, or they moved a dog in there. There's a dog in there. I guarantee it. It's like, what? They come up with these crazy things. What?
Call the dander police.
That's right. I'm allergic to dogs. We're not buying this house anymore.
Oh, but the other side of it is, so, okay, now let me grab you as a buyer's agent, as a real estate agent. And I get you don't have any experience. And you did 2 deals and you're letting your client push you around. Mm-hmm. Stop and just say, listen, this is not considered normal. You're not supposed to make multiple visits to the house between now. Once you've made your buying decision, the sellers are getting prepared for the house to be sold. So they're doing things that they may think are unflattering for you to see. You need to understand that. And then when we do our final walkthrough, bring your whole posse with you. And you want to do that on the final walkthrough, no problem. The house will be looking good again. They usually have everything out. Everything's been broom swept and vacuum cleaned. And now when you go to the house, it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
And in most cases.
You got me thinking about something.
All right.
So I have to write it down.
I move on or no?
Yeah.
I think you should.
All right, Andy, I got this little segment for you.
Uh-oh.
We got some royalty ice fishing houses.
Oh.
Check this out. A company in Minnesota is making these, and
new sponsor of the show, I guess.
Yeah, we should get them. Montevideo. They're from Montevideo.
Yeah.
We can do a show from the ice house.
That'd be cool. All right, guys, ready?
In this week's Finding Minnesota, John Lortzen shows us how a Montevideo company's fish houses have become a popular sight in the land of 10,000 frozen lakes.
The Midwest is a part of the country where real estate seems to expand in the wintertime. Once it's cold enough, little cities form on frozen lakes. But these days, it's as much about fine living as it is about fishing.
You could live in this thing if you wanted to.
You could. Basically, you got your full-size bathroom in here, shower, toilet, sink.
Brett Drexler's dad, Jeff, began building fish houses in Montevideo 26 years ago. He started with a couple, but then demand took off, like a northern at the end of a fishing line.
No clue. No idea that it would grow to be what it is. A little different from the plywood box that we used to fish in, for sure.
That's because ice castles, like this American Freedom model, have all the amenities: kitchens and countertops, sleeping quarters, and slide outs for more space.
You got a spot here for a TV, and then you got another spot in the back for another TV.
But make no mistake, the houses are as popular in July as they are in January.
Hunt and camp, regular camping, ice camping, extra sleeping at the cabin.
Ice Castle has grown steadily over the years. They now have 160 employees, and they build from scratch. The frames are put together in one plant before they're moved to the next one.
I mean, you start off with floor decking, and then it goes to wall building, and then it goes to electrical, and then it goes to spray foam, and then it goes here.
And this is where the final touches are made. No fish house leaves the building without a thorough inspection.
That's Jared Stewart's job. He's the production manager and a jack of all trades.
I checked the fiberglass, I checked the stone guard, I checked the frames. When I started, we were doing 2-3 houses a day, and then...
Wow.
Isn't that cool?
I'll tell you what, the whole ice fishing thing is a no for me anyways. But fishing's a no for me. But I'll tell you what, I would go out and visit an ice house if it looked like that. But I'm not used to that. I went ice fishing once, and it was way up in Lake of the Woods, and it was like in freaking November, and the ice is cracking, and they're taking you out on those things that it had I'm just like, get me back into the resort, and I'll just hang out there. And that's what I did. I was done.
You remember?
Like, how can this be fun?
You remember a couple years ago we had Peting on here, and he
lives out there.
What's that?
He lives out there on the lake, doesn't he?
Well, he has a 40-foot, ice castle tow behind, and he did a show with us out there, and he was catching walleyes in the morning before his.
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, so here's what's cool about that. This whole tiny home concept, everybody thinks it's new. Not even close. It's been around for a long time. It's just talked about more now. Like instead of a big home, I'm going to have a tiny home. These cabins are the most versatile way for people to enjoy, the winter months. They're insulated, they're whatever. But if you notice on the tops of all those units, you saw all those little squares on the top. Those are AC units. And those AC units are what really keeps them cool in the summer. So they pull them off the lake, and just like a regular trailer, they'll actually put these. I should be a little bit lower here. They put them on the actual the slabs like a regular fifth wheel or a pop trailer or whatever, level them out, and then all of a sudden they have a very stable trailer to stay in the summertime. So then boat up and they can fish, and it's cool.
It makes sense. And you go camping and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it does make a big difference. Go to Sturgis. That's what people do. They put their motorcycles inside the trailer and then drive to Sturgis. Yep.
Well, and if you think about this too, I mean, these trailers aren't cheap anymore. Most of them start in the high 30s and go all the way up to 100 and some thousand, depending on what you pick. And they can have multiple bedrooms, bathrooms, the whole thing. And they're super impressive. I mean, it's.
Yeah, that was neat. I can't believe they had that many employees and they're doing that much business. Wow.
Yeah, out at the state fair, they set up a booth. They put about, 10 of them out. And that always, Chris, is always packed. Because I think in the back of everybody's head, they're like, okay, of all the things I want to do, this does check a lot of the boxes for our family. And they are the number one selling recreational vehicle right now. Are the ice for trailers anyway for camping? They're the number one selling. So I've heard
the flexibility of it,
because of that. Yes,
cool.
Well, plus think about this: when you get to a spot, you drop just like you drop it on the ice, you drop it on the ground, and it's stable. So you and I can walk through there, and we're not shaking everybody's dishes off the table. Like here comes King Kong.
Implying that we're larger than most people.
Listen, you've seen the movie Jurassic Park, right?
Yes.
That's what happens.
Okay.
We walk and the waters go boom, boom.
I was just 1 year old when my family started in real estate, where both my parents were agents. They also dabbled in investing in real estate, rentals, flips, and construction. After college, I went right into getting my license in July of 1990. As a 23-year-old agent in an industry that looks nothing like today, I had to know more for my clients to choose me. There wasn't Zillow or social media to tell them how good I was. I had to win them over with knowledge. With knowledge comes confidence, and with confidence comes results.
Look at that sweet home.
Andy, I think we're just we're big boned and we have really good personalities.
Gravity is our friend.
Yeah. Cool house. This is a new construction in Chaska. Ensconced Woods, I think, is what that new development is called. But look at that. I think that could be kind of cool. Let's go into individual pictures. So we're 5-bedroom, 5-bath, 5,000 square feet for $1.4 million. So it's new construction. For 5,000 square feet, I mean, you could be over 2 million, or you could be closer to $1 million. So it just depends kind of what you put into it. And wow, that's interesting.
Are these real photos or are these the computer
that's the model.
Okay.
That is the model. Gosh.
There you go. That looks real. Okay.
Yeah.
Looks like something you'd see in the like Winter Park out in Colorado, looking at the mountain.
I kind of like it.
I do too. I've been looking at designs for a new cabin, and I've been looking at stuff like this just for something different on the, because you always see the traditional big A-frame. I said it screams the 90s, even though they're nice, but I'd like something different like this. This looks cool.
Yeah. I think they kind of went crazy on the front. The sides of the back are just kind of normal, but you got to cut at some point. They've got all those contemporary type.
That's a $5,000 front door. You know what I mean? It's like you start adding up some of the little things that nobody's paying attention to on this house. The railing systems, those are expensive. I mean, everything in this house is expensive.
Wood steps, just the wood tops.
Yeah.
It's freaking crazy.
Yep.
I kind of like that. I am really starting to like the minimalist stuff, not going overboard. It's not crazy. It's good.
Yeah.
Okay, big kitchen.
I like it.
Yeah. See if it's got a pantry. So there's
your brushed brass that you like, Chris.
Yeah. Okay, that's kind of cool. Is there another kitchen picture? Because that one looks like, so the pantry is still open to it, but it flows all the way back. I like that. I actually did that on one of my houses. Yeah, see that?
Huh.
That's kind of cool. So it's kind of your own little pantry in the back. I love that huge window. Look at that. Look at this. Go back to the window deck. It's just subtleness like this from a designer standpoint. Look at the one opens and it's all open on the other, the big punch window. Typically you would even that out.
Yeah.
Instead, no, you got that one that's got the little crank. And by doing that and what you're doing, you're actually getting that window for a lot less money, but it looks a lot more expensive. So I like that.
Try to explain that to the window company when you order it. You want what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Double fridge, double ovens. I love it. It's a great house.
Fun. Use of wood and white and slat nickel spacing. Pretty cool.
I'm liking the house so far.
This is pretty good.
My kids back in the day would have used that dining room fixture as monkey bars, but
hey Nick, go back to those lockers once. Back to the lockers. Okay. So like on something like that, what they did, I mean, typically you say, oh, we got a family of 4, we have to have 4 lockers. No, what they're creating is more of a coat rack type thing.
Yeah.
And it's kind of for everyone. But you use that little space, you get some extra hooks in there, and you look past it. That's the whole justifying kind of thing. Oh yeah, it's got lockers, Well, yeah, no, each kid doesn't get their own locker, but look we can kind of throw them all in here. We got lockers. So,
well, that's nice because you can put multiple people in there. But a lot of times with our houses we do, the new builds we do, we'll have, or we do 3 lockers. So, because if you have 4 bedrooms and a bedroom in the basement, you can always have, 2 per.
Yeah.
They even have nice hardware in this house. This is a nice house.
Yeah. See, all those windows are stationary, so it's a little less money. They did a little board and batten kind of feel on that wall, which I think is cool. It's just one wall. It's like an accent wall. Did the hardwoods in those hallways? Yeah, I love that. When you do the hardwoods upstairs, it's really cool.
It's interesting that all the views go towards the street.
Andy, that's over the garage. That's that one over the garage.
Yeah, the bonus room or whatever.
Yeah. Huh. Look at that. Cool. I think that hallway just looks so much better. And the beams. There's beams upstairs.
Smart.
How cool.
Yeah, pulls that wood in there. Looks nice.
Yeah.
You ever use those faux beams on anything yourself?
Yeah. I try to as much as I can.
Do you have a local source that you like, or do you order them online?
I don't know. I really don't know because I don't do it.
Well, you can do them yourself. If you can just, you can rip them and put them anyway, miter them
Overlay
together.
them.
You make your own cheaper, but I mean, we were looking at some online that were like 15 footers that were they look distressed, like they're that like French chateau kind of for a family room. And our cost as a builder was like $900 each for a 15 footer. So all of a sudden you're like, by the time we touch it, package it, put it up, install it, ends up being a $4,000 or $5,000 accessory to a family room.
But it can change that whole room. That's for sure.
Oh, for sure.
It's kind of fun. Doesn't look like huge bedrooms, which you can get away with. Again, there's the window look again. It's kind of throughout the whole. It's kind of brings it through the whole house. Yeah.
You need to take that call, Chris.
Yeah, you heard that.
Everybody
You have to turn it off. Sorry about that.
Cool. No worries. All right. So nice.
I like this. Try to whip to the basement real quick, Nick. I just want to see what they did down there. If they kind of kept the same.
Ooh, look at that. Look at it.
Really neat.
I've never seen that, a waterfall on a bathroom vanity.
Yeah.
Know what I'm talking about? Like on the end of the vanity there?
Yes.
High expensive.
On both ends, yeah. Okay, now we're down in the basement. Okay, cool. It kind of played that application from the upstairs. It's a good way in which to that accent wall where the TV is. Pretty cool. Yeah. Really nice. Look, workout room. God, sorry. Very nice place. I would check out. Chaska doesn't have really like monster neighborhoods. People think about Hazeltine and stuff, but it really doesn't. I think that's a cool, super cool design. I'm gonna go try to see that.
I actually enjoyed it too. Weirdly enough, I didn't complain much.
You didn't. I know. I don't think that was a bad price at all either. So.
Yeah, for that big of a house. I mean, I think that it goes to show contemporary is very expensive. So that's why you see a house that's a $3 million house that looks like that. This is a smaller version of that house. Same expensive amenities. Like if you really looked closely, I mean, they even had the all black windows inside and out. That's expensive. A lot of that trim was the base trim was 8-inch plus. It was nice. A lot of nice quality features there.
Cool.
Well, they said I could have 30 seconds on the show for a quick ad. Andy Praske, Remax Advantage Plus, Andy@Praske.com if you want to email us. Here's the thing, 22 years in the business, over 1,400 sales. I'd like to help you with your real estate needs. If that's buying, if that's selling, if that's building, whatever it is, give us a call, send us an email. Let's get you started on your real estate journey. I'd like to help you on the way. Lots of experience here, and I would like to put it to work for you. Andy Praske, Remax Advantage Plus. Thanks for listening to the show. I looked a lot younger 2 years ago, didn't I?
You sounded like a quarterback there. Remember you said you didn't want to be the quarterback?
Yeah.
You sounded like a good quarterback.
Oh, thank you.
A liter.
Ooh.
That's McDonald Construction that did that one, Andy.
McDonald?
McDonald, yeah.
Nice. Well, they've definitely our old buddy Bob McDonald, he retired and was trying for years, and he had a new individual that bought their company out because they have such a great reputation and quality and whatever else, and so they're definitely, taking that company to a new level. Good for them.
Oh, very interesting. It's the Scandinavian, they call it. I'm looking on the MLS right now. So.
Oh, nice.
All right, what are we talking about, Nicholas?
Andy, Minnesota Lakes, our expert.
Lake Pepin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tell you, I had an aunt and an uncle that for a couple years now have had, and they just got rid of their place, but they were there for several summers and absolutely loved the small town feel of Lake City. Had beautiful views of the lake. There's always boats and paddle boats and the big what do they call those boats with the paddle boats going up and down. There's always kind of a touristy vibe to Lake City and the marinas and everything else. So it's a lot of fun, a lot of great restaurants. You're close to Red Wing if you want to wander down, if you want to, there's all kinds of stuff to see there. A lot of nice parks and nice boating opportunities as well. Lots of great fishing. But yeah, no, that I highly recommend Lake Pepin. You don't see a lot of people like commuting because it's a little farther than most people want to commute. Some people do, but not many.
On the Minnesota and Wisconsin side.
Yeah. You want to go buy some cheaper goods without the sales tax? You go across the river, come back.
Spotted Cow. We have some friends that have a place in Pepin, which is on the Wisconsin side, and it's really cool because it's got the old railroad tracks that go through there. I mean, and trains go through, but it's got the sign, that says Pepin, like when you're at the stop. And these guys live right by it. And it was kind of a neat little town. Kind of turned into almost like a little artistic little expression area where people kind of go to play their music on a sidewalk, and they have art, and it was very interesting.
It's great, man. It's fun. Like I said, it's a break from the normal rat race, where you're go, and that's like I said, you feel like the touristy.
Andy, can you play an instrument? This is all about real estate.
Not well.
Play an instrument?
Not well. I can play anything. Put it in my face. Let's go.
Can you really? Well. I want to play an instrument.
Okay.
I had, when I was in Pepin, this buddy of mine, all of a sudden he broke out his guitar and he just started singing. And I'm like, what the hell? I mean, I was like really impressed. I couldn't believe it.
That's always been, I think, a closet fantasy for a lot of people, to be able to literally sit by the campfire and go, let me sing you guys a couple songs.
Yeah,
that's what we did. And people actually clap along with you, and versus the old, whoa.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Totally. I told him he needed some work, but it was nice.
Hopefully you instructed him
been
while
drinking.
doing it.
Yeah, I got one more thing for you guys. It's the Amish. They're building. We should do this to fix the housing crisis. Look how fast they work. One day.
I want that barn.
You and me both, brother.
Well, look at how many people, Nick. My gosh.
Yeah, it's like an ant farm.
They got the whole Ice Castle crew there going. Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
That's what I've talked about that on this show, that I saw an 80 by 140 pole building. The Amish built it, 16-foot ceilings. It was freaking amazing. And I'm like, I want that. I don't know what I need it for.
I think, well, even some ladies want a barn. Something about a barn is just cool.
Yeah.
Put your stuff, hide your stuff, whatever.
80 by 140. Like I said, I wouldn't know what to do with it, but it's just would be kind of cool to have.
Yeah. No, I get it. I was surprised that those guys were building with some trusses too, which is normally not the case. A lot of times they, embracing the old school, they'll even make their own nails. They hand mill the lumber and then they do the rafters, hand frame the rafters. That was more of a modern crew there using modern products. But like up in Alex, I know you can get some of these. I'm sure, Greg, our buddy from up there, would attest to this. There's crews they come in by buggy and they work on your projects, and they're framers and good carpenters. And there's a lot of that up there.
I had a client that had them, and then the client and his wife, the wife would go and pick him up and drive him there. Oh. And it was kind of like, hey, we'll just pick you up. And they, no, we have to pay you for that. And so they pay him. It's really interesting. But hey, what are you doing for Christmas? I'm going to Aruba.
Are you really?
Well, that's the only way I get to see my other kid. So I got to take, because he won't come to the United States, so we have to go find him somewhere.
Oh, well, that's I don't want to. That's nice of you, Nick.
I'm trying to get you more cultured, see more of the world. Don't just sit in Minnesota.
Aruba's nice, man. I tell you, nice, warm, deserty island.
I've never been there.
That's nice.
It's actually,
did they ever figure out the mystery of that chick that disappeared? Remember that girl for years?
Natalie Holloway?
What's that?
Natalie Holloway?
Yeah. Did they ever figure
that was Aruba?
It was Aruba, I believe.
Really? Oh, no. Nick says no.
But I was going to say that it's right at the coast of Venezuela. Venezuela is about to invade Guyana. It's a country in South America. So we might get into some more stuff for vacation.
Venezuela, they've had their challenges. I remember years ago with their oil and the corruption they have and their communism and their
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, have fun, Chris. It sounds like a wonderful trip.
Yeah, that's great.
Andy, I did an hour and a half podcast with the Venezuelan girl who smuggled herself into Brazil, speaks great English. And for like 2 years, she was working full time, normal job, 9 to 5, and was making $1 a month.
$1 a month?
Because they knew she was illegal?
No, in Venezuela, an official job. And then they get like 2 packages a month of like rice and beans from the socialist state. And listen to the podcast. It'll shock you.
I heard Walls is trying to put that into place for us now.
I wouldn't doubt it. Of course, the government.
You're supposed to overreact to that.
The government in Venezuela lives richer than basically anyone else in the world with all the oil money. They just take it.
Weird.
Yeah.
Isn't that something?
Anyways, hey guys, click that link, okay? Give us a like, give us a review on iTunes, Spotify, subscribe to the YouTube. If you want to buy or sell, you know who to talk to, and send in any questions for us to answer. Ciao, ciao.
I pointed to you, Chris.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
Point to me now.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Real Estate Radio Hour. Don't forget to visit our website, realestateradiohour.com, where you can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, or your preferred podcast listening app. If you enjoyed today's episode, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes or sharing us with a friend. Until next time, stay awesome, Twin Cities.